Yes, my shit right here. So that's my shit right here. Welcome back to another episode of Road to William. It's been a minute. We back at it. Let's get to it. Today we're gonna focus on Miss Kathleen Cleaver. Let me know in the comments if you've heard of Kathleen Cleaver. Teach me, teach me a little something. So, um, what I know off rip is she's part of the Black Panther Party, and I want to dive into some past interviews she's done and learn from her. There's always someone you can learn from, and how I always find it interesting when people paved ways for people, um, Black people specifically. I always find it amazing when we talk about them because they were forming our freedom. Like we are reaping what someone else had sowed for us. So I think it's always dope that we can go back, find little archives to kind of remind ourselves, we too have the power. We too can keep going. It's a fight. It's not a one all done all. You're always going to have to fight. But there's times where it can get discouraging and overwhelming. And but it's good to feel that, I think, just as it's good to feel good in the sun, or when you're doing something you really like, when you're doing something you really love, there's always going to be an up and down to it, right? The only down is the feeling. I think up is the gains that you can spread with everyone else. I think as long as you're fighting, you're helping somebody else. So anyway, we're gonna get to it. Oh, again, don't be shy to be in the comments. I do want to know some good books to read. I'm about to start rereading the Courtney B. Vance book, Invisible Ink. If you haven't, read that book yet, go ahead, check that out. It's really good. I did it audiobook style because I drive a lot, so I like a good audio book, good mental health, especially with Black men, Black people specific. Not just we know it affects all, but from his perspective and his family and how he grew up, is a really dope story. So go check that out. If you can't afford it right now, I say go on Libby. If you got get a library card. Libby, it's on, it's an app. Go check them out. That's what I'll be doing. But other than that, I am gonna check out Eve's book. I'm getting that for my mom's birthday. My mom's birthday coming up. She's a Scorpio. Like, bro, but I told her about the Eve book. She was like, "Oh, give me that." So that's just gonna be one of her gifts. But go support people putting out books. We got a movie review coming up. Me and Cuzzo Ashley from Ivy Ball and Basketball Show. Go check out Ashley. They be vibing over there. They be vibing. She got her own little crew team. Really, go check her out on Facebook. It be popping on Facebook. Don't hate on Facebook. Her channel, her brand, all that's growing. Shout out Cuz. Let's go. Yeah, I be on iHeart at the crib, not on every day. Y'all remember Pandora? That's for the old folks. Pandora. And like, bro, this is Pandora. Old ass. I am old. Okay. I'm not old. I'm better. I'm better. That's how you know you're getting older. You gotta be like, no, no. I like getting older. When I was younger, I was like, oh, I'm gonna be older. I don't mind getting older. It's a blessing every day above water, above ground. I'm above water. Let's say above water. Kathleen, American law professor and activist. She's still alive to this day. Oh, she's a Taurus as well. It was meant to be to connect. So, 79 years old. Her birthday's May 13th, 1945. She was born. Her parents was Ernest Neal and Jewett Johnson Neal. So, APM reports, what did Kathleen Cleaver do in the Black Panther Party? From 1967 to 1971, Cleaver was the Panthers' communications secretary. She worked closely with her husband, Eldridge Cleaver, and other Panther leaders to expand the ranks of the party nationwide. while fending off a se- while fending off a secret FBI campaign to destroy the Panthers. Kathleen Neal was born in Dallas, Texas in 1945. She worked as a political activist, attorney, and a professor. She is noted for her involvement with the Black Panther Party with Eldridge Cleaver. We're going to have to look into him, do a video about Eldridge. While in exile, a rift developed in 1971 between Cleaver, who saw the BPP, the Black Panther Party, as primarily an international revolutionary group, and Huey Newton, who wanted the party to focus primarily on community service. This disagreement led to Cleaver's expulsion from the Black Panther Party. Memories of Love and War and Liberation Imagination. Um, I gotta have to find that. I'm gonna have to find that. Oh, she also has an article on historyisAweapon.com. I'll put that in the description so you can read the full article on your own. So go check that out. I'll leave that link up. We about to dive into an interview or a few, and let's get it. Shout out to Afro Marxists. So this video is called "The Assassination of Martin Luther King." We're about to dive into a little bit of, y'all know I love some debates. I love debates. You learn from debates if you're really listening. But let's get it popping. Make sure y'all hit that like button, subscribe. Go check out Afro Marxist channel. Go check out Kathleen Cleaver's books, articles.
A revolutionary quest, because it seems to me that one seems to be excluding the other, or does it?
I'd like to make a comment about what Mr. Allen just said about nonviolence. He said it's not. We have never taken any position that nonviolence was either cowardly or, what was that? Subservient. That's not even the issue. What is the issue is, does it work? Nonviolence is a very non-functional approach in a society that's based entirely on organized force and violence. A country was created in violence, land was taken in violence, society that's perpetuating itself through violence in the ghettos, in Vietnam, in Africa, wherever you look. There's organized force and violence at work to maintain the society. So whether the solution is organized force and violence is a secondary question. The question is, what is the problem? And the problem is organized force and violence. And one of the things that's very clear about the philosophy of the Black Panther Party and Huey P. Newton is the statement that there's a world of difference between 20 million unarmed people and 20 million people organized and armed to the gills. That's power. Right there.
That's your First Amendment.
That's power.
Let me get back to nonviolence. So,
that's their First Amendment.
You know, the only thing I want to say, I don't like to reduce a thing to either or, because with Black people, it's a question of both ends, not either bullets or balance. You know, it's a wise use of whatever is necessary.
By any means necessary.
Yeah, you see the opposition you're up against. You know, that's the Army, the Navy, the Marine Corps, the Sheriff, the FBI, the CIA. So when you're looking at total opposition, I think that in each instance, when Black people have to get themselves together, and you have to work out your kind of program and see in which direction you're going to move. If the time comes when politics is a thing that can help you advance your cause, then Black people should get to the ballot. And they should use the ballot box, and put Black people in position, and then they should use the power. I say when that occasion arises.
Well, wait a minute. Black people used the ballot box in untold numbers in 1968, and Nixon sitting in the White House.
What we've got to say, though, is that there's no one solution. There's no. I'm
not saying there's no one solution. I'm saying there's some things are non-functional.
You had a 40, 50-year violent struggle in China. You had, there's no one quick answer. Now, I think part of what I feel here is that we really haven't understood the nature of our plight yet.
I think some people haven't.
No, that what is the power based on? See, I think the reason we centered in the South is this whole big military-industrial complex you talk about is the enemy. And that is resting on the power of about a half a dozen Southern senators and congressmen that virtually control your committees in the Congress, and you don't break that power by shooting a cop. So you break that power at its source with Richard Russell, Talmadge, Eastland, Stennis, Mendel Rivers in South Carolina, the Byrds. Those are the people that keep the lid on, that control the military contracts, that spend 2/3 of our federal budget on oppression around the world. Now, if violence is the tool, then it ought to be directed in the direction of the enemy. Now, the poor cop on the beat is just another tool. Now, one more thing. Even the poverty programs, North and South are quite different. And that's why I think we've got to look carefully at them. In Mississippi, the Child Development Group, that was survival for those black people. They took the poverty program in their own hands, and they developed a network that really helped them to survive in the most vicious system of racism.
But then the funds were taken away.
But they got them back.
Right, but they weren't in control. Right,
no, they're in control now, and they're in control in Alabama. I'm saying there's never going to be a time when you're totally in control.
Why not?
Life is a constant struggle.
I don't see why black people can't be totally in control of their destiny.
Oh, only if you struggle and fight for it.
Well, that's what it's all about.
But you got to fight with your head as well as with your fist or with your gun.
Well, maybe
wars involve fighting on every level.
That's
you see,
right.
Politics is warfare without bloodshed, and warfare is politics with bloodshed.
not quoting white people.
I'm quoting Huey Newton and Mao Zedong and Ho Chi Minh.
Let's put it this way: if that's the case, then if we're
in the English language.
if we're looking at the
one more thing,
all right, well, go ahead.
I would say that when we begin to organize and educate our people, so that we say to this military-industrial establishment that all right, your economy is based on steel. Automobile industry is the biggest consumer of steel. We're going to hit you at the heart of the economy, and come 1970, no 1970 car rolls in the ghetto. And then you will be, then that's the kind of power that they can't counteract simply by beating up a few people or assassinating a few people or putting them in jail.
Dr. Young, what you're saying is that you don't have a single weapon, but you're constantly on the lookout for leverage. And wherever you find it, you have to use it.
It seems to me that there ought to be possible to identify a number of areas in which the self-interest, the very self-interest of this general society, dictates not continued suppression and not continued exploitation of a black minority, but rather opening this society up so that people do begin to have some of the opportunities that they're supposed to have. It seems to me that a wise administrator, somebody who's concerned about the survival of the nation, is going to move in certain directions to avoid the kind of armed confrontation, which is very clearly a possibility and has even erupted in some places. In progress, put it that way. What I would think it would be wise for minority leadership to do would be to seek out and to interpret and to press those points in which there is a common self-interest. Economics, political, housing, things of this sort. Now, I'd like to have her react to that.
All right. First of all, this was the policy of Dr. Martin Luther King. He asked these people to move in their own self-interest. They refused. And secondly, what you're asking is something that's human. And I don't think it's possible for this establishment to react to a human problem in a human way. It's impossible. In terms of self-interest.
That inhuman.
It is. It's obviously that inhuman to me. If you look at its history and what it's doing now. If that is human, then we're something else. So I have to assume that they're non-human. In terms of self-interest, it's a question of whose self-interest. There are masses and masses and masses of white people who would agree with you on that point. But these white people do not have any power. They do not have any say. They do not have any control. And the self-interests of the people who are in charge are not those of human beings. They're mainly based on money and power. You see, if these people would move in their self-interest, they wouldn't beat their own children in Chicago and crack their heads. If they moved in their self-interest, they wouldn't send their armed police onto their own college campuses where their own children are studying. They wouldn't do that. So in terms of their own people, they don't move in their own self-interest. So we can be assured that in terms of black people, they will not move in their self-interest. What is important is for black people to move in black people's self-interest and let them do whatever they want to do.
The grassroots white man has already taken his step. You know, you see those little American flags on those little cars, all those little birch-eyed policemen. And in Newark, when the police went on a strike, they had a curfew in a black city where we couldn't come out the house after 12 o'clock because the police, many of whom don't even live in the city, went on strike. What I'm saying is on a local level, the repression is going to go even, more violently to the right. And now at the national level, they'll be able to justify it, hipper. And I think as America, stumbles to the conclusion that it is, weak and about to be taken off by all the people in the world, that the more and more violent repressions will come. And the next Wallace that comes around, the next time, he will be much slicker, much hipper. He will have the benefit of a psychedelic, hippie-oriented speechwriter. You understand? Yeah. With a much slicker publicity thing than old corn pone chewing George Wallace got. Yeah. By the time he will be right in here.
Leroy, we actually could have that to President Nixon.
I also hear, I was going to add one thing, if I may, because I heard something else in there, which maybe self-interest, but it may be possible that black people are suicidal, and if so, can this country afford...
No, I think black people are definitely not suicidal.
Let me finish. If I'm asking a question. If black people have a tendency to be suicidal, or if the opposition, the enemy, is homicidal, then can they afford for black people to even get in the position that they might destroy this country?
Well, first of all, I say black people are already in that position. And secondly, black people are not suicidal at all. They're beautiful people interested in surviving and living. You know that. Black people want to live.
Just a brief. I'm going to do a separate video of the Black Panther as a whole, but I'll probably do a little bit, like parts of it, break it down more. But this is just a brief history on it to get our feet wet. What's to come next? I've been pushing this off for a while, but I have been watching some documentaries on it. I finally was able to watch the Messiah movie. Good film, but really hard to watch at times. But yeah, we're gonna dive into that a little bit more. But this is just a brief history on it.
In October 1966, Bobby Seale and Huey P. Newton, a pair of students in Oakland, galvanized by Malcolm X's philosophy of black self-determination, launched the Black Panther Party for self-defense. Their goal was to protect their community from racism and violence, which meant protecting it from the police.
When we first started, we had a police alert patrol, and we would patrol the community. If we saw the police brutalizing anyone, we put an end to this. Usually the police wouldn't brutalize anyone if we were on hand.
Did the Panthers embrace a willingness to use arms to defend themselves? Absolutely. Unfortunately, that's usually the only part of the story that we get. Even more energy was expended in social programs. The Panthers put their revolutionary philosophy into practical action. They developed programs targeted at poor black people. They provided the community with free medical care, including sickle cell screening programs, as well as clothing for the needy. Many believe that the Panthers' free breakfast program for school children helped inspire the USDA's federal breakfast program.
We were not for integration. We were for self-determination. We wanted to have the right to determine ourselves what we wanted. Economic opportunity, decent education, access to the full complement of privileges, benefits, and responsibilities of any American.
Not even the FBI was able to stop the spread of the Panthers' ideals, encouraging black people to defend themselves from police brutality and fight for their rights. Decades later, the Black Panthers' legacy continues to live in a variety of political, cultural, and social realms, most recently in the Black Lives Matter movement.
Black History in 2 minutes or so. Go check them out. It's about Fred Hampton on revolution and racism.
I'm the deputy chairman of the state of Illinois Black Panther Party, Fred Hampton. And a lot of people don't understand the Black Panther Party's relationship with white mother country radicals. A lot of people don't even understand that word is overused a lot. What we're saying is that there are white people in the mother country that are for the same type of things that we are for stimulating revolution in the mother country. And we said that we work with anybody and form coalition with anybody that has revolution on their mind. We're not a racist organization because we understand that is an excuse. We're gonna have to do more than talk. We're gonna have to do more than listen. We're gonna even have to do more than learn. We're gonna have to start practicing, and that's very hard. We got to start learning, and you learn through practice. We got to start making mistakes, and you learn through making mistakes. We got to start getting out there with the people. And a lot of times we think we're better than the people. That's an insult, and that's criminal. Think you're better than the people. We got to get together and learn where it's at. It's gonna take a lot of hard work. Education for children is something else. You ought to dig on it. Every sister in this audience, every sister in this audience ought to get themselves together and come on down and help with that Education for Children program. You ought to help come down and help feed them children in the morning. When you leave here, before you go to bed, and say I am a revolutionary. Make that the last word. In case you don't wake up, then somebody might believe it, and you might, end up in what they call it, revolutionary happy hunting grounds. Say that. I am a revolutionary. When you're going out. Okay, we're gonna see why we're going out.
Y'all, that was today's video. Shout out to Kathleen Cleaver, the Black Panther Party movement, and I know Fred Hampton's son is still going strong today, keeping the family legacy, the movement of Black Panther still alive. So shout out to him and his family, his mother, and all that. But yeah, y'all, I just thought it would be a good video to dive into. So I hope you enjoyed the video. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe. Yes, my shit right here. So let's smash it right here.